Is Cassandra Clare going to take everything from us?
Sad, can you tell?
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm here with an extra special reading vlog. What is so special about it is actually two things. First of all, you voted for it in the community tab, and I started from scratch because I saw that almost every single person that voted wanted me to go with this reading vlog instead of other reading vlogs that I put on the poll. And second of all, it's a series binge. So full disclaimer, I'm not very good at binging book series because whenever you are finished with a book, you actually feel like, okay, everything was resolved. Even if there is a cliffhanger, you know that at least some things were resolved during the book, throughout the story. Even if not everything, at least a few. If I start a new book, it's like I'm starting all this process of going through and resolve the issues and trying to resolve them again until the end of the book, like 3 or 4 or 500 pages later. So yeah, usually I'm not a fan of binge reading, but for this reading vlog, I'm going to try this. I have the perfect possibilities for a binge read, which is the Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare. If you don't know, this is a series that is taking place in the Mortal Instruments world, created by Cassandra Clare. It is actually the second series she wrote chronologically. I think it's the second in this world, but it's the first in terms of when it is taking place. So if I'm not mistaken, it takes place around the 1800s. Tessa and Will and Jem. So many characters that I want to talk to you about. Why I believe that I'm going to be more able to binge read this series, contrary to other series I have tried before, is the fact that I have already read the first and the second books, but it's been a while, maybe even a year. I don't even remember. I have to check my Goodreads page. I think the first book I read 2 years ago. I don't even remember. It's been a while anyway. And I want to revisit them and finally read Clockwork Princess, which is the final book in the series. So what I'm going to do basically is reread Clockwork Angel and Clockwork Prince, which are the first 2 books in the series, and of course let you know of all my thoughts in between, and then finally get to Clockwork Princess. I'm so excited because I know that everybody loves this series, and I can't wait to see how it concludes and then move on to the Chain of Iron era. The Last Hours, I think it's called. The Last Hours series. So yeah, I will let you know how it goes, all my thoughts so far before starting. But first I'm going to eat because pizza is here and I'm so hungry. Hey guys, so here I am with the first update of the Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare, the first book in the Infernal Devices series. So I'm here to tell you a little bit more about this book, but I waited until I reached the point where we have met every main character in this series. So we have now met Tessa, of course, Will and Jem. Specifically in page 130, and Will and Jem are in their first mission. We actually see them together. We knew they were together, but we didn't actually see Jem. So far, so good. I'm very invested in the story. I don't remember exactly what's going on. I remember the stakes and what is going to happen near the end of the novel because I was really surprised. I like this element of not knowing what's going to happen. I had no idea. And what I enjoy a lot about this reread is that I know where we're going. I don't feel this pressure of, I don't have any idea where this is going. I don't have this element of anxiety over what is going on, what's going to happen, which I really enjoy actually. And I think I will have this more in the first book of the series than the second, because I don't remember much about what happens in the second book. I don't know why I didn't enjoy it as much as this book in my first read, but maybe this reread will change my opinion. Hopefully, actually. So basically, right now we have met Tessa. She was being kept captive by some weird people, let's say, that wanted to abuse her power actually. And her power is to change into another person, like take completely the bones and the structure and the appearance, and even know some of their thoughts, some of their last memories before they died, for example. And this is very exciting. We have only very briefly glimpsed Jem. We know more about Will at this point. In the first read I had of this series, in the first book I was Team Jem, but in the second book I started liking Will more. I don't know what I'm going to think now. I'm certainly more aware of what is happening and I know more about its character, so I like all of them right now. But yeah, we'll see. Yesterday the trans rights readathon started, so I'm going to read a few more books about this readathon. So I will put this aside a little bit. I will focus a little bit more on my books I read for the readathon. But I will make some more progress slowly on this and will update you again soon. Hey guys, so I have been sick all week, thanks COVID. I haven't done any updates because I can barely talk. But I have my water and I'm ready to talk a little bit, just a little bit about this book. I have made some notes of all the things I want to talk to you about because as I was reading, I was thinking about things that normally I would just grab the camera and talk to you, but I couldn't do it. Because of this, I still can barely talk, but I just wanted to say a few things. I finished this morning and I have so many things I want to talk about. First of all, this was a reread. I don't even remember if I have said that before in this vlog. I enjoyed it so much. I think I even enjoyed it more than the first time I read it, mainly because probably I knew what to expect. Because it was a reread, I didn't have this anxiety of what's going to happen next and what is going on right now and who is going to be bad, who is going to be good. No, I knew everything. I remembered everything even though I read it quite a few years ago. I don't remember when. I will put it somewhere here or somewhere on the screen anyway. But I remember this book way better than the second book, which I have also read. But I remember almost nothing about what's going on in the second book. I don't know why. So due to my remembering what is going on in this book, and especially the last 100 pages, which is when the action escalated and we learned who are the bad guys and what they really want
from our characters, although I don't think we have learned anything in this book, everything I mean, but the fact that I knew who the bad guys are helped me, really made me enjoy the rereading, seeing how we came to know who is bad, who is good, what is going to happen, and I could see all the little bits and pieces and all the breadcrumbs thrown before that. So yeah, I really love that. So in that essence, I really recommend a reread of this when you know the truth, because there is a plot twist towards the end, and knowing the plot twist, you really enjoy it more. The second thing I wanted to talk about is the love triangles. I hate love triangles. This series is basically a love triangle. We are torn between Will and Jem, and Tessa is going from one to another, if I remember correctly, because in this book she's only messing around with one boy. I think Will is very funny in the beginning of the book. Towards the end he becomes a little bit dark, and it's like he's changing his whole personality. I think we get an answer to that in the second book, but I don't remember what that answer is. I just remember that I was like, oh, okay, when I was first reading it, but by now I don't remember anything. But then Jem goes and says something so beautiful that you have to root for him, or he does something beautiful. He's such a gentle soul. Around the 300 page mark, we also get to know what is going on with Jem and why he seems a little bit sick, what really went on, which is very interesting because I didn't remember at all. It is something that I should have remembered, I feel like, but I don't know why. I think the plot twist overrode everything in my brain. I was so surprised and shocked by the plot twist in the end of this book, in the last 100 pages, that I didn't even pay attention to everything else after that. I just finished it this morning. I had like 40 pages left. I wanted to finish it last night, but I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore, and I thought I would enjoy it more if I read it today. It was a very enjoyable read. I think I enjoyed it even more in my reread, as I said already. So many things happened I hadn't realized, but it's such an action-packed book, and I didn't even remember most of it because, as I said, I was focused on the last bit of this book and on the love triangle during the first time I was reading it. It's all paced out so well, and it makes you just keep turning the pages, wanting to know more, wanting to see what will happen next. It is fast-paced enough to keep you invested in turning the pages, but also slow-paced in a way that makes you connect with the characters. I don't know how to describe it, but this is a very well-written book, I feel. I remember that I didn't like the second book as much, so I'm a little bit intimidated into tackling it, but I really want to read the final book in the series finally. So yeah, I'm also excited to finish with it and also see if we learn more things about Tessa, because I can't remember right now. But yeah, so yeah, I'm going to start the second book now and drink lots of water. I need it. See you in the next update, hopefully with a better voice. I'm thinking that maybe I should document some of my thoughts on Clockwork Prince, because last time I read it, while now I can remember things as I'm reading, I couldn't remember anything for the life of me, and I can remember where we are right now that I have already read this. Not exactly what I'm reading, but like
these events ring a bell, but I have no idea what's going to happen next. It's like I'm reading it for the first time. I know I've been there before, but I have no recollection of what's happening. And it's a bit frustrating. And because it's the second book of the series, I think I'm going to have some confusion because I'm reading them back to back. So I thought I would do some non-spoilery documenting of what I've actually read. After the events of Clockwork Angel, Sophie and Tessa are practicing fighting and they're training basically. They'll learn how to be almost as good as Sando hunters in fighting and everything, but they are trained by some questionable characters. I don't know if they're really that questionable because I can't remember anything. I have some hint in my mind that maybe we will go that way, but I'm not sure if that were my thoughts back when I was reading it or if it's really going to happen that way. I have no idea. So it's not a spoiler. They're being trained by a couple people that I don't know. They might be questionable. So I'm not gonna tell you who they are because they are going to be questionable for you too if you have read the first book. But we'll see. And also they're going to look into the Magister. I'm not telling you who it is, just the title, the formal title, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. So they're going to look more into that character, how they came to become the Magister, basically. Happy April, everybody, with a Christmas hoodie, but well. So today I made some more progress in Clockwork Prince, and I'm actually in page 114. And I really wanted to talk about Cassandra Clare's writing because I am so amazed at how descriptive and detailed and immersive she can be. She can make her books be. For instance, right now we traveled from London to Yorkshire, and I actually feel like I traveled with the characters. She described the gloomy London sides that I'm familiar with, and then the train station and all these quirky little things and the carriage that took them to the York Institute. And I felt like I was there for every step of the way, like I was there in the conversation between our three characters. It felt so nice. I think what draws me into this book so much is exactly this kind of writing that makes you feel like you are there as well, that you are living these things along with the characters. Although that would be terrifying for me to live with the monsters and everything, but anyway. I also wanted to say that I strongly believe and hope actually that we don't really know who Tessa is yet. The way the story unfolds so far, it gives me the impression that we are going to learn more. Maybe in this book, maybe in the next book, I don't know. But I don't think we know the end of who really Tessa is just yet. Although it is taken for granted in this book and at the end of the previous book. But I don't know. I'm up for any surprise, basically. So basically, I just wanted to comment on Cassandra Clare's writing and on my thoughts about Tessa. And I'll see you in the next update. Hey guys, I haven't done any updates in the reading vlog, but I have actually finished Clockwork Prince. I don't know how I managed that, but I kept taking like little notes in my phone, and I thought, okay, next time I'm going to update you. But then I just kept reading on because I wanted to see what's going on and what's going to happen, because I didn't remember anything from my first read. So yeah, I have a lot to update you on. I will go through them briefly because I have taken pictures throughout whatever I wanted to talk about. Of course, no spoilers. So one thing I kind of remembered about this book was that there was a serious betrayal in it. I read online that this character's redemption arc will start soon in the next book. For me, it was a pretty serious betrayal, although I get why this person was led to it. Yeah, I don't know how this redemption arc will come to fruition, but yeah, we'll see how it goes, basically. I also read the balcony scene. If you know, you know. If you remember, you remember. I think it's a pretty intense scene. I have seen some artwork, some fun artwork online, and I think it is based off of this particular scene, so that's interesting if it is. Otherwise, I have more to wait for. There is also a couple that started developing, and I think the second part of the book, mostly there were little snippets before that, but the main thing started a little bit towards the end, and I like this couple a lot. I hope something good comes out of this coupling, basically, because it is a very difficult thing for shadow hunters or something, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. Towards the end, like the last 100 pages were like a whirlwind. I just had to keep turning the pages to find out what's going to happen, because there were so many things going on. And yes, so I'll take them one by one. First of all, as you know, there is a love triangle, and I have mentioned that I hate love triangles, and this book is exactly why. Tessa basically is torn towards one person, but she clearly loves the other person. To me, it feels like she loves the other person more. It's very frustrating to read, and I have no idea how this is going to be resolved in the next book. I hope it is resolved in a good way, in a satisfactory way. Otherwise, I don't know, I will be upset, I think, about this. Towards the end of the book, it was love triangle galore. I think this was the least enjoyable part for me of this book, and mostly I think why I was so frustrated the first time I read it, and why I basically deleted it from my memory. And going back to reading my review on Goodreads, I think it is too obvious that I was upset while writing it. I can remember how, frustrated, I don't know what other words to read. I need a thesaurus. Another very exciting thing that happened, I think, just before the balcony scene, there was a hint of who Tessa is. I don't think it was really dealt with throughout the rest of the book. I think it was mentioned once more, like a possibility of something regarding her parenthood. I don't know why, but it is not very interesting for Tessa. It's like she has decided, I am this, and yeah, that's it, basically. This is a little bit confusing, but I'm pretty sure in the final book it will be resolved. It has to be resolved. So I'm not stressed about this so much as I am for the love triangle. So there's that. And might I say, I'm a little bit suspicious of a certain character that was inserted in this book that is not playing really any role in the story right now. And by the end of the book, I was almost sure that we would have a reveal regarding this person, just like we had in the first book. But Cassandra Clare surprised me. I don't know, I think something is going on with this person, but I don't know, we'll see. As I said, I'm not too stressed because I know that it is a trilogy and everything needs to be resolved in the last book, basically. So I'm not too stressed, except for the love triangle again. I wanted to also make a note on how this book ended, of course without spoilers, mostly so that I can remember how it happened and where this book ends and where the next book is starting, because after a while I won't be able to remember. So having this documented in a reading log will be very helpful if I ever want to go back to remembering what its book is about. There was a very exciting announcement in literally the last page. No, not the last page, I think it was the second to last page. In the last page, there is a new character that is added to the cast. For some reason, I remembered the announcement. It might have been the only thing I remembered about this book, except for my frustration over the love triangle. I didn't remember the new cast member, but I think this is because I don't really care. I don't know how this was going to affect the story. And okay, I'm not really interested if it was a different character. At first, when I realized that someone is going to enter the institute, there was someone on my mind, and I thought it would add a little bit of spice into the story, but no. I don't know how this will turn out and how this will affect the whole plot and everything, but yeah, nothing too exciting really. Not like a cliffhanger that I have to have the next book immediately or something. But yeah, I'm going to start the next book right now, and hopefully update you a little bit better on this book because I didn't do a very good job in this book. Off to my next read now. Hey guys, I made some progress in Clockwork Princess, and I've got to say that we started right from the action. It was action-packed right away. It swept me right into the story again. Actually, I started flipping the pages like I was new to the story. It didn't feel like I was reading back-to-back all these novels. I didn't feel like, oh my goodness, I'm again in the same thing. It felt totally new. I liked it very much. Although right after the action stopped, we're back again to the love triangle galore, going back and forth and realizing that Tessa has feelings for both, and yeah, it just doesn't work for me. I don't know why. I'm so uncomfortable with this theme. I have the two very interesting things to note about this little part that I have read so far. Oh, and actually I have to mention that the audiobook is a lifesaver. I started it because I want to actually make progress in this book, but I also had some chores around the house I wanted to do, and I couldn't actually physically read my book and sit down and read. Finding the audiobook on script was perfect. The narration is so good, and it felt the same as reading the book, and now I can switch back and forth between the physical and the audiobook format whenever I need to. It's a lifesaver, honestly. Anyway, the two things that I wanted to point out a little bit was that we started from a very peculiar point that doesn't seem like it has anything to do with the story so far. And this was like literally the opening of this book. It is connected to one of my suspicions, so I'm very curious to see where we go from there. So far nothing has happened, so yeah. I don't know if my suspicion is correct, we'll see. And the second is a very interesting, not exactly betrayal. I don't know how exactly to describe it. I think it's like a political move that doesn't make any sense. We didn't see anything like that in the previous books from this character, this specific character, but it makes sense from their point of view that it is described. This character wants to take the credit and not the Institute of London, so yeah, it's a power play basically. It reminds me of something that happened in the Mortal Instruments. So far these are my thoughts. I'm going to dive right back into the story, although we're at the point where the love triangle gets me frustrated again, but I won't go into it again. I'll update you on how that goes in the next clip. Good morning guys. At this point I have no idea how much time it has taken me to read these books and film these vlogs. It's been weeks at this point. Anyway, I have made some more progress in this. Look how gorgeous it is. Wow. Anyway, so last night I was reading. I had started being a little bit bored and frustrated because of the love triangle and everything, but then action happened again. So suddenly, so many things happened after that, so many. I'm trying not to spoil here, but so many shocking things happened. And then I read page 238. And I'm terrified of where we're going with this book and these characters. I'm honestly very scared right now. I don't know what's going to happen. I have started fearing that something bad will happen. Something else bad. Too many bad things have happened. Hopefully it will go okay. But yeah, I will let you know of my thoughts. Also, so many things have been said about the love triangle, and some things I was like, okay, good to know that we're not going to go down that way. But on the other hand, some other things are being said now after page 238. And I'm starting being fearful. Let's hope, fingers crossed, that everybody will be safe. Although I have started having doubts about it. I'm going to start reading. Hopefully I can finish it today. I think about half of the book left. So I don't know if I can manage to finish this today, but I want to post this reading vlog this week. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So I have to make some progress. So I'll leave you to make some more progress. Just a quick note, I'm on page 420, chapter 20. This is a fantasy, an urban fantasy most of the time, but the last couple chapters have started feeling like a high fantasy with a quest, an adventure on the countryside, and then the last couple pages have started feeling like a romance. I don't know what's going on here. Cassandra Clare is playing around with the genre a little bit. We're getting to a point where we're close to the final countdown, I feel like. I'll let you know how it goes. A couple minutes later, page 439. Is Cassandra Clare going to take everything from us? What is going on in this book? Hey guys, and welcome to the end of the vlog. I finally can say that I finished the series, the Internal Devices series. That means that I also finished this book. This huge book, may I add. So I will very briefly give you my thoughts on Clockwork Princess because I want to keep it non-spoilery, and I have already edited the majority of the vlog except for that clip, and I've seen that it's over 30 minutes and this was not my intention. Although of course reading 3 huge books, yeah, what did I expect? Anyway, my final thoughts on Clockwork Princess are not very different to the rest of my comments about it. Up until the epilogue, I had started getting terms with it, feeling like, okay, what I wanted to be resolved was resolved, everything is closing nicely, and then we go to that epilogue, and I didn't like it at all. It reminded me so much of another book that I don't want to mention because I am afraid that it will be a spoiler, but it is a very popular book that is actually published after this one, so it's not like it aspired to be inspired or, you know, to be like this book, but I didn't like this other book as well. It's not the reason that I didn't like it. Of course, it was the love triangle. I didn't like it. This is, I think, my main complaint about this series. It could have been so good, it could have had so much potential for me personally if it wasn't this cringy love triangle, because it was so cringy. I'm upset, can you tell? Anyway, let's just go back to my review of the whole trilogy. Getting back to Clockwork Princess, I like this book actually very much, although it is my least favorite of the three. I don't know if it is my least favorite because it was the first time I read it basically, and this also happened with the rest of the books. I mean, I liked the first book the first time I read it, but the second book I really didn't like. I started liking it upon my reread. I don't know why. If I was ever inclined to reread The Clockwork Princess, I could tell you that maybe that's why I didn't like it, but I'm not inclined to reread it, mostly because of the love triangle. I'm just not in terms with that. I don't know why. Maybe it will sit down in my mind and then I will see things differently, but I really can't understand what is going on. I feel so dissatisfied. This is not for my tastes. It may be an unpopular opinion. Out of all three books in this series, my favorite is Clockwork Angel, the first book in this series. I wish the series had gone in a completely different direction, only regarding the love triangle. The rest of the series, the rest of the story was very good for me. I liked the action, I liked the rest of the cast, I liked the betrayals and the plots and the twists and turns and everything. And actually Clockwork Princess was such an action-packed book, but it also had some slow-paced inserts. I don't know how to explain it. There was also such a not thriller element, but you were anxious to see what's going to happen and how everything is going to be resolved and who is going to survive all these battles and everything that was basically going on. I really enjoyed my read up until the point where we reached those love triangles and everything. I could have dealt so much better without that epilogue. And also, even though I did like that it gave us a glimpse into the future, let's say, I would love to discuss this ending and this series with you more. So if you have any comments for me, just please be mindful of spoilers and put a spoiler warning or something. I want to discuss it with you guys. Where can I reach you to discuss this series? Yeah, the love triangle just, well, anyway, basically that was a reading vlog. I hope I didn't ramble too much. It was my first attempt at making it a little bit cinematic and inserting some clips that I felt nice about, like made me feel cozy, and I hope I conveyed this feeling to you as well. Please let me know your thoughts on this series, on the Infernal Devices series, on the Shadowhunter Mortal Instruments series. I haven't read the other series yet, but it's my goal to keep on reading the Shadowhunters universe, hopefully with better love stories from now on. And also I would love to know your thoughts on this book and the epilogue and anything that went on as well. Thank you so much for watching and see you in another video. Bye bye!